lads and lasses, I'm Eccentric, and today I'm doing a tier list. Yes, it's about time I'll probably do one of these, and everyone loves tier lists, yeah. Yes, so as well, of course, exclaimers, disclaimers even, I'm ballsing up the English language. This is entirely my opinion, yours may differ, that's fine. I'll respect your opinion if you respect mine. Yeah, so of course, as every good tier list, we've got different tiers. S tier, some of the pretty much the best Forza games. A tier, absolutely fantastic games, but might have the odd issue. B tier, still brilliant, but have a few more issues. C tier, they're still damn good. They have a lot more pros than they do cons, but there's quite a few fair big cons with it. D tier, this is your average Forza game, so they're not brilliant, but they're not terrible either. E tier, these are sort of your below average Forza games. There's a fair bit of issues with them, so I'd recommend not playing them. And then F tier, these are just for ones that I would just avoid full stop because they're absolutely crap and they're non-applicable. Because of course, whilst I may have been playing Forza games for the past 17 years, there are a few I actually have never touched. So I'll actually go into that now. I've never played the Xbox 360 version of Forza Horizon 2, and I have never played Forza Motorsport 6 Apex. This was because this was a PC launch, and when this launched, I never had a good enough PC, so of course I'm going to avoid that. And Horizon 2 360 version, I pretty much had the Xbox One version, so I never saw the point of getting this. I might play the 360 version of Horizon 2 at some point, but I've never seen the point because I've already had that. Also as well, you may notice on this list, there is no Horizon 5. This is I don't remember when this list was made, but this was obviously before Horizon 5. So this one here, I'm going to presume, is the 360 version of Horizon 2 Presents Fast and Furious. So in post, I'll just add the Horizon 5 logo here. So this one here is, Forza Horizon 5. I've put these in order when they're released. There is one game I'm gonna put immediately there, Forza Street, because it's fucking shit. I don't think I'd have to do any explanation of it. Basically, if you've never seen this game, be thankful. You press two buttons. Upgrading is, I don't get the point, and the game's just fucking boring. It's literally, you can tell when it's done bad when after 1 year they've stopped updating it. Like, they shut down the servers after 1 year because Forza Street was just absolutely atrocious. Anyways, let's get on to the proper list. Also, I do apologise for the sound quality and things like that. I'm having to record this in a different room because my room, the desk that I have, is a little bit damaged. So that's been repaired. So I've got to wait for a little bit. But yeah, so I'm recording this elsewhere. So if the sound quality is a little bit down, I do apologise for that. Anyways, let's get things underway. First things first, Motorsport 1. The first game in the franchise, and it is a very strong start to the franchise. I do quite like Motorsport 1. One of the issues, there's a few problems with it, but they're not all very bad issues. Motorsport 1, the career mode is bloody good. I will admit that. I do quite like the career mode in Motorsport 1. I think it's helped quite a little bit for the fact that there's cheat codes, so you are able to basically access every single car without having to sort of really try a little bit too hard. There's also money exploits in this. I think there pretty much is in all Forza games, but this one's very, very easy to replicate and really doesn't take a lot of time. But yeah, Motorsport 1 is very good. The arcade mode is alright. I don't really see the whole point in it. I don't really get it, why there's an arcade mode in it. I don't think there's any point to it. Excuse me. But I think the track list is damn good. Obviously, there's a lot of fictional tracks in the game compared to the later half. A lot of this track list is just fictional. To be honest, that's not too bad, because a lot of the fictional tracks in Motorsport 1 are damn good. They are really good fictional tracks. Car list as well, especially for the time, was pretty damn good. It also had very damn good customization, especially compared to the later lot of Horizon. So for the Xbox One generation of Horizon, the customization in this was actually really damn good. Obviously, the handling, brilliant, is good fun, very arcadey, the most arcadey of the entire lot, other than that. But one thing, I do have an issue with ABS in terms of when you have it on, it's fine. When you have it off, you just lock the brakes instantly, like no matter what you do. From what I've just found, you either don't stop in time or you've locked. So you basically don't stop in time. Also as well, bouncing off the rev limiter, damaging the engine is a little bit annoying. Especially considering the fact the engines in Motorsport 1 are actually quite quiet. So you've got to knock every other sound down to then whack your TV volume right the way up so you can actually hear the engines. So there's a little bit like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Motorsport 1 in C tier. It's a very damn good game, but there are some big underlying problems with it. Motorsport 2 is pretty much a lot of things I said about Motorsport 1, however, it's just overall better. The car sounds are better. You don't have to turn everything down to make Motorsport 2 actually sound like it's got cars. Obviously, I played a fair bit of multiplayer. Never played the multiplayer. Motorsport 1, no idea what that's like. But Motorsport 2, I have played the multiplayer in that. It was quite good. Obviously, game campaign, good stuff. Still had the arcade mode, which like Motorsport 1, didn't see the point in it. However, Motorsport 2 is a damn good. I'm gonna put it in A tier because the car list is improved. Customization, I mean, yeah, sure, you can't customize the rear tail lights anymore. But I mean, to be honest, you know, that affected what, 2 cars? So it really didn't bother me too much. But there was just so much to it. There's a lot of little details in Motorsport 2. I mean, for instance, when it comes to the tyre compounds, in Motorsport 2, you can choose your manufacturer. And it actually has different stats, which is just absolutely brilliant. Also as well, it simplified the PI a little bit more in terms of it actually gave it a number rather than like D4, C3, A2, S1, things like that. You know, it put an actual number to it, which is actually quite a nice system, and obviously they stuck with it ever since. Yeah, it is damn good. Obviously, the race cars were split off a little bit better than just R-Class. You had R4, R3, R2, and R1. So it was definitely better in that regard. Single player, again, very similar to Motorsport 1, but improved a little bit more. And this game did have DLCs, which were actually very damn good. There was a lot of good DLC cars in Motorsport 2. Which obviously this game didn't have, but this game did have cheat codes. Well, this game I don't think did, but it was still damn good in Motorsport 2. Motorsport 3 is, I think, I don't know whether to put this in S tier or A tier, because Motorsport 3 is very damn impressive. Like, Motorsport 2 and Motorsport 1 didn't have an interior view, whereas Motorsport 3 actually does. It does have an interior view. Your cars can roll. The damage model in all of these were absolutely fantastic. Motorsport 3 did add a lot more tracks, a lot more sort of real life tracks, as well as fictional ones. Motorsport 2 added like 1 or 2 more tracks, but then you basically spent a lot of your time sort of within the same area, so the amount of tracks overall kind of went a little bit down compared to Motorsport 1, excuse me. But Motorsport 3, definitely track list was improved. The handling was a little bit better, in my opinion, compared to Motorsport 2 and Motorsport 1. However, yeah, it did have... One thing I will say is that these two single players are better than Motorsport 3 and 4. I do prefer how these are laid out. Obviously with these, you win first in all of the championship, in all of the races in a championship. You unlock a car. With Motorsport 2, you unlock a car and bonus credits. In Motorsport 1, you just unlocked cars. Obviously, that was gone in Motorsport 3. You just earn bonus credits. But the thing about the credits is that actually quite stingy. In Motorsport 3, you don't really earn a lot of them. So it kind of doesn't really... It kind of discourages you from actually going out and buying a lot of Ferraris or Aston Martins and things like that. Which is a shame because there's a hell of a lot more cars. There was a good car list in Motorsport 3. The multiplayer as well was actually damn good. We had more game modes in Motorsport 2. Rivals as well was a little bit easier in Motorsport 3 compared to 2, but obviously 2 still had it. Oops, sorry. But I do think that Motorsport 2 is 3 is damn good. But I'm going to put an A tier because there are a few issues, especially in like the menus. And plus as well, the AIs aren't really... These 3 suffers from the same issue of the AIs don't upgrade their car. So you pretty much just bring the top of like C-Class, for instance, and it was absolutely easy. Not to say that the AIs in Motorsport 4 were any trickier, but it was a little bit better, the AIs in Motorsport 4, which I don't think I need to discuss really. Motorsport 4 is just S tier. It is absolutely fantastic. Everyone that has played Motorsport 4 will know exactly what I mean. The game was just absolutely brilliant. Really was. It pretty much, if you've never played it, the car list in it, absolutely sublime. Best car list in any of the Forza games. It had something for everyone. It had a lot of classic cars. It had a lot of like your general city cars, things like your Nissan Micra, Peugeot 107, a lot of those types of cars. Then it had your sports cars, roadsters, supercars, race cars from different categories, etc. Forza Motorsport car list was quality and quantity merged perfectly. DLCs as well were absolutely fantastic, same with Motorsport 3, but 4 I think added a little bit more. There's a lot more unique cars in Motorsport 4 as well. It was just absolutely brilliant. The multiplayer as well, the fact you could have 16 people, I can't remember how many you can have in Motorsport 3, I think it was 16, it might have been 12, only, I can't remember. But yeah, Motorsport 4, it's just everything 3 did, but better. Storefront was improved, auction house was a lot better, creating car clubs, all of it was nicely separated and just a lot better to navigate through compared to Motorsport 3. 4 was just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there was that. Forza Horizon 1, easy S tier as well. The single player in Horizon 1, I don't think it's been matched by any other Forza Horizon game. It was absolutely brilliant. Horizon 1. You actually do feel like you progress in the career mode in Horizon 1 than you do in sort of Horizon 2, Horizon 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it definitely was a hell of a lot better in Horizon 1 than any of the other games. The only issue I have with Horizon 1 is the multiplayer. It's good, but it does have its issues in the fact that you have to have... The fact that you either search for like an infected game lobby, or you search for a free roam, you can't just like do all of that in one lobby. You've got to back out and then set one up and things like that. So the multiplayer aspect of it was definitely weaker compared to what we have now. However, the single player was just absolutely sublime. Just before I continue, Motorsport 4 obviously had the car football game mode, so that was absolutely brilliant. Just more game modes really than Motorsport 3. But yeah, Horizon 1 as well, the car list in this was brilliant. Whilst it may only have 201 cars, that's including DLC, it had so much quality in it. It had so many unique cars that you probably would never expect. It had like the LFA Nürburgring edition, it had the Alfa Romeo TZ3, the ACRX, Gunpowder Apollo Enraged, etc. The car list in Horizon 1 is quality. I've punched my mic, is quality well over quantity, and it's bloody brilliant quality, which is what I prefer. I mean, yeah, sure, you can give us so many cars, but if you have like 7 Lamborghini Huracans, I'm going to be bored of it. But Horizon 1 didn't do that. It had so many good, unique cars, and the customization as well was still absolutely fantastic. The only main issue was you couldn't really explore a lot of the areas, because of course a lot of it was walled in. I think that's probably limitations of the 360, however. And the multiplayer was a little bit weaker, but the single player was absolutely brilliant. The soundtrack as well is the best in any Forza game, if you ask me. The car list is absolutely sublime, and yeah, I really would recommend getting a second-hand copy of Horizon 1, because as well it is backwards compatible, so definitely grab a copy. Motorsport 5, I'm going to put need here. I do think this is a below average game. Yes, this was sort of what is the Xbox One capable of, which is completely fine. But it just fell short of so many areas. I mean, the track list, it was a major downgrade. I mean, we lost a lot of the fictional tracks that Motorsport 3 added, that Motorsport 4 added. And we didn't really get much. All we got was Prague as a new fictional track, and that was the and then we did get Bathurst, which is a good track. I do quite like Bathurst, but yeah, it was just so it's just so many issues with it for Motorsport 5. I mean, the single player was alright, do not get me wrong. Obviously at this point we had like the Forza rewards that recently came out, so you could get a lot of cars. You can get a lot of money. Back then, obviously, they've cancelled Forza Hub now, so there's not really any point. I don't know why. Yeah, so for the single player, Motorsport 5 was alright, but it was definitely weaker than Motorsport 4, because just the amount of events that you had in 4 and 3 were just absolutely fantastic. You had you had bowling, you had point-to-points in these two. Obviously Motorsport 1 had point-to-points, Motorsport 2 got rid of it. You had drag races in these, obviously that one you didn't. Yeah, there was just so many things in Motorsport 5 that were just completely cut off. Excuse me. And it was a major problem. The fact that there was just so much content for Motorsport 5, and a lot of the DLC in that game was just cars from Motorsport 4, 3, 2 and 1. Just a lot of cars that were in the previous games just resold to you as DLC. And I had a major issue with that in Horizon 5. I criticized, I sort of had big criticisms with the Porsche. I mean, with the Porsche 911 Sport Classic, I mean, yeah, sure, I probably didn't do it in the video, but when I did the review of the car pass, I didn't like the car whatsoever. It should never have been a DLC. Apologies that you can hear the keyboard. Yeah, so Motorsport 5, I would absolutely avoid. The 16-player multiplayer, or 24, I can't remember now, doesn't save it. It really doesn't. It is just absolutely, it is quite bad. So if you've never played Motorsport 5, if you've never played Motorsport 5, avoid it at all costs. Horizon 2 Xbox One version. This is a challenging one. I can never decide which one I prefer. Whether it is Forza Horizon 1, I prefer, or whether it is Forza Horizon 2, I prefer. Forza Horizon 2, the single player isn't as good as Horizon 1, I'll admit that. However, the multiplayer was so much better. The fact that you can do a lot of things you could in the single player and the multiplayer, like in Horizon 1, you couldn't even buy a car or upgrade your cars. You had to do all of that in single player, which is just a big faff. In Horizon 2, they changed that so you could. The map in Horizon 2 is my personal favourite. I do think it's the best map. A lot of the race routes in Horizon 2 was fantastic. Obviously, the Xbox One version, you were allowed to explore a lot further. All of the cities and whatnot were just better. And yeah, the map's better. The multiplayer is far superior. The soundtrack is still fantastic. I just prefer Horizon 1. So I think I'm going to have to put Horizon 2 over Horizon 1. I think I'm going to have to do that. However, Horizon 1 is still fantastic. The expansions to Horizon 2 as well were better, because we had the Storm Island, which is the first map expansion, which is brilliant. Horizon 1, we had the Rally expansion, which was still goddamn brilliant, which was still good as well. And then we had the 1000 Club, which basically had like the Burnout Paradise multiplayer challenges, but to single player, which added to the single player experience a lot more, made it more exciting. And they did have multiplayer challenges as well, which Horizon 2 didn't have, which is what I can just never decide between these two. Obviously, the customization in Horizon 2 went downhill a little bit, wasn't quite as good as Horizon 1, but there was just so many good things about Horizon 2. Now, I do think I am going to have to rate it over Horizon 1, but only just. I can barely decide which one I prefer. It really depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm more in a single player mood, I'll play Horizon 1. If I'm more in a multiplayer mode, I'll play Horizon 2. But both are absolutely fantastic, and I would highly recommend getting them both. This Horizon 2 presents Fast and Furious. Technically, it was a separate download, so I am going to include it. It was average. It basically played the same as Horizon 2. It had the same handling, things like that, but you played on a much smaller map. You did have new events. Obviously, you had Boost, but you only had the 10 or so cars that you had in the Fast and Furious movie, and you had new Bonfire, but outside of that, it's basically Horizon 2, but you only have 11 cars, which, when I say it out loud, I'm going to put it there in E tier. But, like, it was brilliant. It's Horizon 2, but smaller, which it's not too bad, but yeah, it just wasn't. I don't really see why this was a separate thing overall. I think this would have been better, like this as just an expansion, and you could do everything you couldn't here just in Horizon 2. This just feels like an expansion rather than like a separate deal, because it kind of is really. It is kind of just an expansion, but because it's listed as a separate game entirely, that's why it's on this list. But yeah, it wasn't really worth it whatsoever. It's not that good. But the thing is though, it's that it's free. So when I say that it's free, I can't really be too harsh on it, because, well, at least I think it was free. I can't remember. It might have been free if you played Horizon 2. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember, but I'll put it in the A tier for the time being. Right, let's move on to Motorsport 6. I'm going to put it in B tier. Reason being is that this game has the best DLC out of any Forza game. Full stop. The DLC cars in Motorsport 6 were absolutely brilliant. Really, really good stuff. Tracklist as well was actually quite good. The main issue with it I have is actually with the way the cars drive. I don't know, but I remember I talked about this when I did the look back. I remember enjoying Motorsport 6 a lot more than what I do now. When I replayed it for that video, I had a lot of problems with the way the cars drove. I actually didn't like it. I found the cars really unresponsive and quite sluggish in a way, but they did do a lot of good things. Obviously, we had rain and we had nighttime as well, which has been missing since Motorsport 1 nighttime. And obviously, Motorsport 6, the car list was definitely improving as time went on. Obviously, it went massively backwards with Horizon 5, but they did improve with Motorsport 6. This game has absolutely fantastic modern DLC cars. It was absolutely fantastic in Motorsport 6. I know I'm repeating myself a lot with like the same words and whatnot, but I'm just getting my point across. I do apologise if me using the same words is making you bored. I'm thinking I'm not that intelligent with the English language, because I'm not. I'm also not that intelligent. But yeah, Motorsport 6, I just remember enjoying a lot more than I did. Obviously, the two expansions we got with it was the Porsche expansion and the NASCAR expansion. I think when the NASCAR expansion came out, it changed the handling model, I think. Or at least changed the physics. Which was definitely a downgrade compared to what we had before. I think that's the main problem, is the handling is just, it's not that fun. I don't really think it's that good of a handling model compared to what it used to be. But Rivals was good, single player was alright, multiplayer was actually still quite good, and it's an enjoyable experience, Motorsport 6, but I do think it's not aged quite as well as I used to think. Horizon 3. Ooh, the beginning of the downfall of Forza Horizon, but it's still good. The Australian map, I do really enjoy it and then don't enjoy it at the same time. I think the map overall is a bit weak, but the routes they use on the map are fantastic. They are bloody good to race around if you ignore the meta of four-wheel drive, give it a V12 and then just add power. That was really boring. But that was the meta in Horizon 3. The off-roading was vastly superior to these two games. A lot of the routes in Horizon 3, like I said, are absolutely incredible. The expansions in Horizon 3 were the best overall. I will say that. They are just better than compared to everything else. Horizon 3 had a lot of very good stuff to it. Obviously, we had wide bodies that were introduced in Horizon 3. The customization was starting to get there. However, still wasn't quite as good as the 360 generation of Forza. But it was still very good. I'm going to put it in B tier. I'm going to put it, I think, above Motorsport 6. Just because of the NASCAR expansion, I do think just kills it. Whereas the expansions to Horizon 3 help elevate it a lot. Obviously, the single player, nowhere near as good as these two. Multiplayer was still quite good compared to because it was more following the Horizon 2 route, but I do think that it was just better in Horizon 2 than it was in Horizon 3, but Horizon 3 wasn't terrible. Motorsport 7. Whew. This is a tricky one, because I think a lot of people have rated this fairly down low because they played Motorsport 7 at launch, or like early on, and it was pretty damn bad, I will admit. Motorsport 7, when it launched, was like down here in E tier. It was quite bad. Not quite as bad as Motorsport 5, but launch Motorsport 7 was very bad. Now that they've done all the updates to Forza 7, obviously they gave us all DLC cars, they fixed the multiplayer, they fixed the rivals, which should have been fixed from launch. A tier. I really do. This, I don't know if I can put it in it. I don't know if I can put it. It's basically, for me, it's borderline A tier and S tier. I really don't know where I could put it. You know what? I'm gonna put an S tier. I'm gonna put Motorsport 7 in S tier. Here's my reason. Motorsport 7, for me, I think this game is the best driving motorsport in my opinion. Yeah, sure, people may have issues over the curbs and things like that. But I really do enjoy Motorsport 7 for how it drives. I do think it is the best. I play it all the time. I still play it to this day. I do think Motorsport 7 is probably my favourite of the motorsports in terms of just driving. Obviously, it's got well over 800 cars, which in a Forza game is just absolutely sublime. Really, really good stuff. But I will admit, the launch of Motorsport 7 was so bad. It was absolutely atrocious. So if you stopped playing Motorsport 7 when the launch came out, I don't blame you, but I do think you should probably, give this game a retry. You may enjoy it again, because I certainly do. I do think it's a very, very good game. Car list, I do think this does a lot of classic race cars, the best out of any of the Forza games. But the car list still not quite as good as Motorsport 4, just because Motorsport 4 has a lot more different types of cars than 7, but 7 does have a lot of older race cars that are far superior than what Motorsport 6 offered you, but Motorsport 6 did offer you more modern cars that were superior. Yeah. Also as well, Motorsport 6, the expansion was Porsche. Motorsport 7 never got a Toyota expansion. I don't even think it got a single expansion in Motorsport 7, but we did get a lot of free DLC Spotlight cars. But Motorsport 7, I don't even think added a track. That was the main thing. I mean, yeah, sure, we got, what was it? What's it? Obviously, Motorsport 6, we had a new wheel. I think it was terrible. This game added Dubai, which is okay. Obviously, more tracks had nighttime and rain. Rain was a little bit more dynamic, but wasn't quite so dynamic. You could set what the weather could go to and like the percentage of it. Obviously, Motorsport 6 you either had daytime or rain. In 7 you can have it be dry, have a chance of rain, or it'd be nighttime, but you can never have it be raining and at night. That wasn't possible, which I do think is a bit of a letdown. Obviously, single player as well. Motorsport 7 wasn't quite as good as Motorsport 6, but the multiplayer for me, when they fixed it, when they did actually do it, it was a lot better, and I do think Motorsport 7 is far superior to Motorsport 6. This is just my opinion. Like I said, I imagine I've annoyed a lot of people for the fact I put Motorsport 7 in S tier, things like that. I do think that will annoy a lot of people, but yeah, I do honestly think Motorsport 7 is my favourite motorsport to actually drive. It's not the best, because this is. That's enough of 7. Forza Horizon 4. This is tricky. Horizon 4 did so many things early on that I really did enjoy, but when they added more stuff to it, I just felt the quality go down. I really did feel the quality go down. I think I'm gonna have to put it in C tier. I do think I'm gonna put it in C tier. The main map of Horizon 4 sucked arse. I will admit, the expansions as well were not that good. The main map sucked arse. The expansions were not good. The car list was fantastic. I will admit, it was a very good car list in Horizon 4. The multiplayer was okay, but obviously as time went on, it got worse. You know what? No, I'm gonna demote it. I'm gonna put it in D tier. Though. I don't know. The thing about 4 is that it's just bland. That's the main issue. Is that it's just really, really bland. A lot of the race routes I don't enjoy, because I think they're either too simple or they're just not good. There's nothing really massively nothing really massively sophisticated or challenging compared to something like Horizon 3. They actually had a few challenging routes, Horizon 2 and 1 as well. And some of the more challenging routes in Horizon 4 were just awful to race in, like anything above B class. It did a lot of things wrong, but it did a fair few things right. Like I said, the car list in Horizon 4 was fantastic. I do think that they added the wrong expansions. I do think there should have been a Leyland Cars expansion. And the other expansion map should have been Isle of Man. It really should have been the Isle of Man, rather than Fortune Island and Lego. But it's just... It was okay. That's the main thing with Horizon 4. It was okay. It started out brilliantly, but then it just went downhill as time went on. So I can't really... I don't think I could put it above D tier. I will admit, I don't think I could put it above D class. But I do think you will probably get enjoyment out of it for a fair bit of time, but I think you'll just get bored of it really quickly, because there wasn't even really any single play. There was no single player progression. There was none of it. Horizon 3 you did. Horizon 4 there was just none. There was zero progression whatsoever. But the thing about Horizon 4 is this game crashed a lot for me, but wasn't particularly buggy. So that's the main thing. So now we move on to Horizon 5. Obviously, for me, it's the 360 version of Fast and Furious, but I'll fix it post. It doesn't matter. Horizon 5. It has improved as time went on, in some aspects. In other aspects, it's not changed. The car list is getting there. I will admit, it is getting there. However, they are still adding quite a lot of cars that... Excuse me, do apologise. Adding a lot of cars that were in Horizon 4. I'm just removing them and then re-adding them as like seasonal playlist reward cars, which I think are just terrible. Really, they shouldn't be seasonal reward cars. They should just be auto show cars, and then add more unique cars to FH5, or if you can add less unique cars, at least add older exclusive cars to FH5 back into the pool of cars you can unlock, and also change how you used to change the rewards, because Horizon 4 you used to have to get 50% of the seasonal playlist done and then 100% of the seasonal playlist done to get the cars, which in my opinion so much better than what the like 20 points and the 40 points, because 20 points takes me like 10 minutes and then I'm bored of Horizon 5, whereas with Horizon 4 I think you have to get 50% and then 80%. So 50% is still a lot. It's actually a fair amount. So seasonal playlists to Horizon 4 were a lot better. The seasons in Horizon 4 were a lot better. Yeah, the map as well, whilst still not that good. Actually, to be honest, that's a lie. I do think FH5 map is better, but Horizon 5 is such a buggy pile of shit. It really is. The amount of struggles we have to actually get a lobby set up and working for Bowser community is quite laughable. It is such a challenge to actually get stuff working properly on Horizon 5. The track creator is improved massively over Horizon 4. Obviously Horizon 4 got introduced to it a little bit more with like the Super 7, which I did feel was a little bit just tacked on. Because, well, you couldn't use any of the props in the races, so the custom routes were a lot of the time just a little bit, was just a little bit convoluted and a bit crap. Whereas Horizon 5, it was improved in that regards. But yeah, Horizon 5 is just so buggy. I do feel the car list, the overall quality of the game as well is just gone downhill. Progression, at least there is some compared to Horizon 4, but not much. There's a little bit, but I've seen a lot better from Horizon 3, Horizon 1 and Horizon 2. Customization in Horizon 5 is starting to get there a little bit. Obviously we've got a few more body kits. I know as I'm recording this, I think Rocket Bunny is set to return. Good God, I'm yawning a lot, I do apologise. Rocket Bunny is set to return. There's a lot of Horizon stories in it, but yeah, I don't think it's that good. I'm gonna put it in E tier. I do think, with Horizon 4 being in D tier, because I do think, well, this game's just bland. This game has got so many problems with it that I do think it's actually quite bad. So there we are. That is my tier list for the entire Forza franchise. It is quite spread out, I will admit, but I did add a fair few tiers. Obviously, I've not played Horizon 2, I've not played Apex, but I imagine Apex just plays very similar to this, but just on the PC. And I do know that there's a fair bit of differences between Horizon 2 on the 360 and Horizon 2 on the Xbox One. So I do know there's differences in there. I might get a copy of Horizon 2 for the 360, might try it out for myself. I don't know. However, yeah, that's my tier list of the entire Forza franchise. I do think that a lot of these games, I do enjoy Forza, but definitely it has gone downhill quite a lot, I will admit. Obviously the only true Xbox One generation game I really do enjoy is 7. Occasionally I'll pick up Horizon 3, Forza 6, I'll play from time to time, but very rarely will I pick this game up because I just do think Motorsport 7 is better. I do think Motorsport 7 is better, but there are definitely problems with this, definitely when it was at launch, and there's a few still broken, quite badly broken cars in Motorsport 7 compared to 6, but I do think overall the handling in 7 is better than Motorsport 6. My thought is starting to die. I do apologise. Anyway, I'm going to call it there for a video. I do hope you enjoyed. If you have vastly different opinions to me, that's completely fine. You know, I respect yours. Maybe, you know, if you want to create your own list, obviously the link is here. Links on screen. If you know, you might copy the same thing with me, like this entire tier. If you do, you know, I'll be kind of interested to see what your opinions are of the entire Forza games. You know, if you feel free, in the description there is a link to my Discord. Feel free to join that, and you know, maybe send a screenshot of what you think of the entire Forza franchise. Obviously, if you want to, you can copy the same as me, have this as Forza Horizon 5 if you haven't played it, or you know, just see if Forza 5 is in whatever tier. It's completely up to you, because I will be curious about your opinions as well. Yeah, however, that's it from me. Oh yeah, all feedback is appreciated. I do apologise for the sound quality, because I'm somewhere completely different whilst my desk is being fixed. Yeah, so that's it from me. Take care, and ciao for now.